Good day, students. Today, for our grade 2 grammar lesson, we are going to have a look at how we should use commas. So, using commas is very important when we read and when we write to separate certain things, for instance, numbers and even words, as well as sentences. So, having a look in our readers and writers notebook, in our green book, as we know it, our readers and writers notebook, as we go to page 523. There, as we start there, just some pointers and some tips on how and when to use our commas. So, our first rule is commas are used in addresses. For instance, there's 25 Long Street with a comma and then California saying the state or the region and then the postal code of 7272. Number two would be commas are used in dates. Dates saying we have, for example, 10 May or May 10, then we have a comma and then we have the year. So there's just a little bit of a spelling error here or a typing error. It's 1946, not 19146. And then we have Thursday, so it's the day of the week, and then we have a comma saying after that December 16. So that is a way we can, two ways actually that we can write a date. Then going to number three, commas are used to begin and end a letter. So when we start a letter, we always address it to someone, and with that, we have to follow it up by a comma. So, dear grandpa, in this instance, let's imagine that we are writing to our grandpa. So it would be ideal to have a comma before the salutation or saying hello or the greeting. At the end of that letter, we have love Tom. So Tom has written this letter and then he's sending well wishes or love wishes. So then we have a comma after love. All right. And with that said, we go on to number four. So commas are used to separate three or more things in a sentence. So if we are naming certain things or a list of things, Tony bought paper, comma, stamps, and a pen. Because we can't say Tony bought paper and stamps and a pen because that is not 100% correct form of English. Okay, so to sound more English proficient, we should have a look at using commas when we write and name more than 2 to 3 to 4 and even more things like that. Right, so going to our page here, on page 523 to start off with, for our activities, we have the the summary of how to use commas again. So commas are used in addresses. There is an example. We have commas are used in dates. We have an example there, 10 May 1946, the one that I used on my slide. And then Thursday, comma, December 16, that is also another form of a date that you can write. Then commas are used at the beginning and end of a letter. So we have dear grandpa and love Tony again, and there we have commas are used to separate three or more things. Right, so that is, we can just skip over to the activity. So we have to add commas to the letter where they are needed. So the letter reads as follows: 307 Hillside Drive, Dallas, Texas, or TX 75220. That is the postal code. Then we have June 28, 2011. And then, dear Marie, I will come to Texas for a visit in July. I hope we can go to a ranch again. I love riding. Could we go on a short trail ride? See you soon. Your cousin Anna. So that is then the letter that was written. We'll start in the beginning. The very beginning is the address, 307 Hillside Drive, and we learned now where the comma should come in the address. So we have Dallas, and then I think just after Dallas, just before the abbreviation of Texas, we should have a comma. So just after Dallas, Texas, we should have a comma. Then I should actually show all the answers now. There we go. So June, going on to the date, June 28, 2011. Now you see if that, it's very confusing to read a date if there's no comma in it, because it's so easy to read the 28 and the 2011 as one number if you don't know that there should be a comma. So having a comma there separates these numbers nicely. June 28, 2011. Going on, then we have the greeting of the letter. We have Dear Marie or Mary, whichever case it may be, the pronunciation, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is we should have, just after the name, we have a comma, because that is how we're supposed to greet in a letter. I will come to Texas for a visit in July. I hope we can go to a ranch again. Um, I love riding. Could we go on a short trail ride? See you soon. And then to end off that beautiful letter, we have the greeting or saying goodbye at the end. So your cousin, then we have a comma to separate that and the next line, which would be the name of the person sending the letter. So you have your cousin with a comma and then Anna. Going on to page 528. Here we have to choose options A, B, or C based on our knowledge of how to use commas again. So here we look at A and B and C and look at where they put the commas. And according to me, I think that A should be the correct answer here at number 1, because we have Linton, which is the place's name, and then obviously the state separated by the comma. Right, so then we have 1A. 2C, why? Because we are trying to separate the letters to not confuse us here. Not only the letters, but also the numbers. So we have November 12, then you have the comma, and then 2007. The comma should not come any other place. So we are trying to avoid confusion between the numbers. Okay, so we have number 2C there, which is the correct form of the date. And then number 3, we have a greeting of a letter, and what did we say? We have Dear Aunt Betty, then the comma, so that would be number 3C. Number 4, we have a list of things that is named. So we have ski, sled, and skate. Ski, sled, and skate. And where should we put those commas? It is how we mark it at B. So number 4 is B, because we have ski, then naming another thing. To separate that is sled, and then we have a comma just before and again, and skate. So then going on to number 5, again naming a list of things: boots, hat, and mittens. Boots, hat, and mittens, they are all should be separated by a comma. So boots, comma, hat, comma, and mittens. That is what we're looking for there. So 5 is A, and then the last question is number 6, and we will go with number B there, with option B, because that we would use at the end of a letter. So we'd have your niece, or whoever the relation is with you and this person, then we have the comma, and then Monica, your niece Monica. So just a summary: 1A, 2C, 3C, 4 is B, 5 is A, and 6 is B. With that said, we have our homework. Our homework for today is in our grammar book, one page, which would be page 149, which is our homework for today. Also, we are nearing the time of the end of the school year, and we have prepared a term, like a term test, summarizing all the some of all the work that we have done. So this is a grammar revision section for the grammar section of the paper. The test paper will consist of grammar, spelling, and a reading piece. So specifically for the grammar, we are going to have, or you can have a look at page 439, page 497, and page 511. Once again, those pages: 511, page 497, and page 439 in your readers and writers notebook. The homework for today is in your grammar book. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be in contact soon.